Hey guys, so I was reading this book of supply chain, and it was feeling very boring because आपको पता है ज़्यादा बुक पढ़ने में अच्छा नहीं लगता जो कि सिलेबस की बुक होते हैं. So I have created this kind of a talk podcast where I will be reading the book, and if you want, you can just listen, or I'll just keep a note here so that I can read this book 10 minutes a day. Without any further ado, we will be reading the book Supply Chain by Sanjay, and let's start. So, what is a supply chain? A supply chain consists of all parties involved directly or indirectly in fulfilling a customer request. The supply chain includes not only the manufacturer and suppliers, but also transporters, warehouses, retailers, and even customers themselves. With each organization, such as manufacturer, the supply chain includes all functions involved in receiving and filling a customer request. These functions include, but are not limited to, new product development, marketing, operations, distribution, finance, and customer service. Consider a customer walking into a Walmart store to purchase detergent. The supply chain begins with the customer and his or her need for detergent. The next stage of this supply chain is the Walmart retail store that the customer visits. Walmart stocks its shelf using inventory that may have been supplied from a finished good warehouse or a distributor using trucks supplied by a third party. The distributor in turn is stocked by the manufacturer, say Procter Gamble PG. In this case, the PG manufacturing plant receives raw material from a variety of suppliers, which may lead which may themselves have been supplied by lower tier suppliers. For example, packaging may come from Pactive corporations where Pactive receives raw material to manufacture the packaging from other suppliers. So this supply chain is illustrated in figure with the arrows corresponding to the direction of physical product flow. So basically, timber company goes to paper manufacturer, then it goes to Pactive Corporation. Pactive Corporation is a supplier for PG and other manufacturer. It is supplier for Walmart or third party DC. It will go to Walmart store and it will go to customer. Then plastic producer, and then there is a chemical manufacturer which can directly support PG, PNG, and then chemical manufacturer which will support plastic producer and which will support PNG. So there was a good diagram here. Supply chain is dynamic and involves a constant flow of information, product and funds among different stages. In our example, Walmart provides the product as well as pricing and availability information to the customer. The customer transfers funds to Walmart and Walmart convey point of sales data and replenishment orders to the warehouse or distributors, which transfer the replenishment order via truck back to the store. Walmart transfer funds to the distributor after replenishment. The distributor also provide pricing information and send delivery schedules to Walmart. Walmart may send back packaging material to be recycled. Similarly, information, material and fund flows takes place across the entire supply chain. In other example, when a customer makes purchase online from Amazon, the supply chain includes, among others, the customer, Amazon website, Amazon warehouse, and all the Amazon suppliers and their suppliers. The website provides the customer with information regarding pricing, product variety, and product availability. After marketing a product choice, the customer enters the order information and pays for the product. The customer may later return to the website to check the status of the order. Stages further up the supply chain use customer order information to fill the request. The process involves an additional flow of information, product, and funds among various stages of the supply chain. These examples illustrate that the customer is an integral part of the supply chain. In fact, the primary purpose of any supply chain is to satisfy customer needs and in the process generate profit for itself. The term supply chain conjures up images of products or supply moving from suppliers to manufacturers to distributors to retailers to customers along a long chain. This is certainly part of the supply chain, but it is also important to visualize information, funds, and product flows along both directions of this chain. The term supply chain may also imply that one player is involved at each stage. In reality, a manufacturer may receive material from several suppliers and then supply several distributors. Thus, most supply chain are actual networks. It may be more accurate to use them as the term supply network or supply web to describe the structure most supply chain. A typical supply chain may involve a variety of stages, including the following: customers, retailers, wholesale manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors, component, raw material suppliers. Each stage in a supply chain is connected through the flow of products, information, and funds. These flows often occur in both directions and may be managed by one of the stages or an intermediary. Each stage need not be present in a supply chain as discussed. The appropriate design of supply chain depends on both the customer's needs and the roles played by stages involved. For example, Dell has two supply chain structures that is it uses to serve its customers. For its server business, Dell builds to order, that is a customer order initiates manufacturing at Dell. For the sale of servers, Dell does not have a separate retailer, distributor, or wholesaler in the supply chain. Dell also sends consumer products such as PCs and tablets to a retailer such as Walmart and carried Dell products in inventory. The supply chain thus contains an extra stage called the retailer. Compared with the direct sales model by Dell for servers, in the case of other retail stores, the supply chain may also contain a wholesaler or distributor between the store and the manufacturer. Historical perspective. Supply chain management, as we understand it today, represents the confluence of at least three main streams of knowledge and practical experience of the business world, spanning almost 60 years. The fusion of these streams into one powerful movement, supply chain management, that is sweeping across the present day industrial world, has been brought about by intense competition characteristics of contemporary markets. It is therefore appropriate that a decision on supply chain management is preceded by the brief understanding of contributing disciplines. These streams include business process and managerial practices which have evolved somewhat unconnectedly, if not entirely independently. In the fields of operations management, industrial engineering, and physical distribution, in the course of their development, these processes and practices have absorbed several allied and subsidiary functions, as well as activities and adopted various successfully business innovations. The three principal streams are sourcing, procurement, and supply management. Then it comes as a materials management, and the third is logistic and distribution. Let's talk about sourcing, procurement, and supply management. Commonly through quite mistakenly referred to as supply chain management, these functions arose in the area of purchasing when came to occupy a predominant position in business success because of their impact on cash flow and contribution towards the company profitability. Businesses realized that effort required to increase profit through increasing sales were far greater than those involved in generating equivalent returns through the reduction in procurement prices. Major purchases came to be handled by the top management, who in turn depended on purchase specialists for advice. Economic buying was seen to be a strategic function, with major contribution to the bottom line. These responsibilities of the purchase function, however, ended with the procurement and the more mundane functions of materials management took over. We may thus regard it as a set of activities, functions, and process concerned with economic procurement and inflow of inputs into the enterprise and an efficient control over flow of funds out of the company. In the context of supply chain management, this process fall under sourcing, supply side management, inbound logistics, and supply relationship management together with the materials. Information and cash flows interconnected with each other. Now let's talk about materials management. Classic material management included the function of forecasting, inventory management, store management, warehousing, stock keeping, and scheduling, till it came to include production planning and production control to involve into extended materials management, With subsequent inclusion of order processing in its fold, it came to be known as integrated materials management. Since material constitute almost 60% of the cost of manufactured products, at least in Indian context, the importance of efficient management of materials came to be recognized by business during the 1970s as a route to cost reduction and thereby to profitability. The merger of purchasing, which presented opportunities for reduction in the cost material inputs, with materials management, thus become an obvious business compulsion. Some of the most innovative techniques focusing on reducing total cost of inventories to the lowest possible levels without compromising on service levels own their origin and growth to the stream of knowledge and experience. In relation to supply chain management, it may be regarded as the management of flow of material into and thorough and out of an enterprise, adding it in the process of value for the customers, both internal and external to the organization. Let's talk about logistic and distribution, derived from military parlance, wherein it covered all functions related to movement and maintenance of armies. The logistic function in business appliance and applications came to be recognized as time and space related placement of goods to provide customer service. According to the Council of Logistic Management, it is that the part of supply chain management process that plans, implements, and controls the efficient, effective forward and reverse flow and storage of goods, services, and related information between the point of origin and the point of consumption in order to meet customers' requirements. The distribution function, which Peter Drucker identified as the today's frontier, is in that sense synonymous with logistics. Since transportation, which is the backbone of logistics, accounts for up to 50% of total logistics cost, the efficient management of these functions become an important preoccupation of management, leading to the development of transportation related practices involving all modes in general and multimodal transport. In particular, as evidenced by revolutionary development and exponential growth of containerized cargo handling and movement worldwide, realization on the part of business that there was an obvious trade-off between transportation choices and inventory policies led to an integration in logistics emerge as a cross-functional approach that integrates all materials functions of purchasing, inventory management, production control, inbound traffic, warehousing, and storekeeping, as well as income quality and incoming quality control with of the objective of ensuring efficient operations. In this shape, business logistics may be regarded as the earlier avatar of supply chain management. In the context of supply chain management, logistics would fall at both ends. This is and that is inbound logistics and outbound logistics. Interestingly, the intra-company flow of material is sometimes referred to as manufacturing logistics. Given this discipline, a breadth of reach over end-to-end movement of materials at a stages of industrial and business endeavor in delivering value to the customer. Supply chain management has thus emerged as an integrative philosophy and a strategic level business practice with which economy passes flow of materials, funds and information throughout the network that ultimately delivers the value to the customers. So this is the part where we finish the first part and tomorrow we'll be doing the objective of the supply chain. Till then,